So now we're going to move on to our next speaker who's with us now. It's actually one of your sponsors. It's going to be like Danielle from Candiani. I don't know if you can join us. That'll be awesome. It'll be awesome. She's been very kind of, thank you so much for coming. She's been awesome enough to send us, I think, 3 fabrics or 2 fabrics. You've sent us definitely 3, I believe.
I honestly don't know in the end because I think it was 3. It was 3, I believe. Yeah.
And I think they're on site, so we're quite excited to use them. And I think when we're going to be inviting you to the actual judging as well in like January. So
good.
Daniel's going to be one of your judges, guys, at the end of the process. So be nice to her with your questions.
Yeah, be nice.
Yeah, so I'll leave it for you. You got about 15 or 20 minutes for your presentation.
Good. So
fine. So I'll see you in about 15 minutes. Okay.
Perfect.
Lots of luck.
Thank you. Okay. So, hello everyone. My name is Danielle. I'm a sustainability manager at Candiani Denim. So we are a vertically integrated denim mill. We are actually the last in Europe, and we've been producing denim since 1938. We are a family-owned and operated company. We're now in our 4th generation. So Luigi Candiani founded the company making workwear fabrics, specifically Massawa fabrics, that he would then bring to the markets in Milan and sell. Primo Candiani then came in, took over the company in the 1960s, and decided to first vertically integrate our production because he saw that it was a better way to do things. It was more efficient. You have more control over the quality also of your product. And he decided really to dedicate all of our production to making denim fabrics. Then in the 1980s, Gianluigi Candiani came in. This is Alberto's father. And he was responsible really for transforming mainly our spinning facility from open end to ring spinning. And he did this because it was really the technology or the way, the technology needed to really perfect stretch denim. So this is something Gianluigi is known for, Candiani is known for as well, is our stretch fabrics. So in the 2000s, when skinny stretch denim was becoming very popular and ubiquitous, Gianluigi was really one of the first to kind of pioneer that and understood that stretch denim was not just going to be a trend, but it was going to be something that really revolutionized the industry. Next, we have Alberto Candiani, who's really come on. I mean, he's been, of course, he grew up literally at the mill. He's Gianluigi's son, and he really came in and is really taken on the task of transforming not only our production to be as sustainable as possible, but also the industry as well as a whole. So one of the things that really makes Candiani stand apart from others is really where we're located. So we are in a region that has a really rich textile manufacturing history. It's actually site to the origins of denim, which is something that maybe a lot of people don't know. But really the first fustaine fabrics were woven, I think I can't tell you exactly, like 80 kilometers from where we're located now. And the other particularity of our region is really that in 1974, it was designated a nature reserve. So the Parco del Ticino. And so we actually are located in a nature reserve. And what that means is that really brought with it a lot of restrictions in terms of how we could operate, in terms of how we managed our production, and how we had to think about our impact of our activities outside, our factory walls. So that really leads us to now. We initially Gianluigi and Primo Candiani saw these new legislations and rules as nothing more than a headache. They didn't understand. It was like, why do we have to be operating in this way? It's like a competitive disadvantage for us. It's costing more. We're having to do all these tests. We're having to test our wastewater. And now with the kind of expansion of sustainability, with the increased interest in sustainability, we really view it as a competitive advantage. So now sustainability is very much at the cornerstone, at the foundation of everything that we do at Candiani. And it's really built on these 4 pillars. So lasting legacy, which is really tied to the territory, tied to the history of textile manufacturing, and also being very rooted in the place, and having generations of families that have actually worked with Candiani. They work at Candiani their whole lives. They have all of their their moms, their dads, their cousins that also work at Candiani. Intelligent Ingredients really focuses on all of the research and development we do into new materials and finding alternatives to some conventional ingredients that maybe have a significant impact on the environment or social impact. Trailblazing Technologies is also very much rooted in R&D, but really looking more at our production. So how can we improve the environmental footprint of our production? So really focused on water, energy, and chemicals, kind of the big 3. And then trusted transparency, which of course is a big topic in the industry now, but really focusing on how we try to engage the industry and engage consumers in general about this topic of sustainability, because we understood that we were talking about, things we were doing, but a lot of people maybe weren't understanding it. So it was kind of lost on them. So we understood the need to also educate and inform people more directly. So this is our vision, our current vision. It's a regenerative and circular model. And this really focuses on linking industrial denim production with regenerative agriculture. It's a systems thinking approach. So it's really thinking about all of these aspects and how they are interconnected, how they influence each other. It begins with thinking about the end in mind. So really thinking about the end of life of a product. So what's going to happen to that thing after it's can no longer be used. It focuses on prioritizing low impact, toxic free, and preferably bio-based raw materials. And that really can enable a virtuous solution at the end of life. So it's really about finding ways to reuse materials throughout the entire supply chain. It's finding ways to recover these raw materials and put them to reuse. At any point possible. And also a big part of this is our Coreva fabric, which is biodegradable and compostable. We'll go a little bit more into that in a second. So preferred cotton, obviously cotton is the most important raw material when it comes to denim production. It's a natural fiber, as you all know. But what this means is that since it's a natural fiber, it's an agricultural product. And so there's a number of environmental or potentially negative environmental and social impacts that come along with this. It's really important to point out that cotton, the impacts of growing cotton really depend on where it's grown and how it's grown. And so we, and this was something Transformers Foundation produced recently, was a report really digging down into kind of common misconceptions around cotton production, which I suggest everyone look into because it's a very valuable resource. But yeah, we agree with what was stated there, and that it's really important not to make blanket claims around the impacts of cotton, like cotton is a thirsty crop, or it needs 15,000 liters of water to produce one t-shirt. It may be true, it probably is true in a lot of cases, but it's not, you can't make these blanket statements across the board. But with that said, so preferred, we are continuing to support preferred cotton alternatives to conventionally grown cotton, because there are, despite what I just said, there does remain quite a few impacts in terms of, there's a lot of variation. Cotton can be grown in good ways and cotton can be grown in bad ways. So we are trying to do our best to support preferred cotton alternatives. And just to let you know, like Textile Exchange kind of, or termed, define this term preferred fibers. And preferred cotton or preferred fibers in general is what they define as those with a improved social and environmental impact. So that's what we are really focusing on now at Candiani, is finding these preferred alternatives to common conventional materials. So in this case, these are 4 examples. They're examples that, you know, are let's say like the most important for us at the moment, but we also work with other cotton types of cotton, preferred cotton. Organic, so organic cotton, of course, is really focuses on the reduction or the elimination of the use of hazardous chemicals. It ensures human rights along the supply chain, and no genetically modified seeds or products can be used. Regenerative cotton, on the other hand, is something that's really growing in popularity at the moment. And it's really focuses on agricultural practices that prioritize soil health. Soil health that can also lead to increased carbon sequestration, which means basically that when healthy soils are healthy, they have the ability to store more carbon in the soil. So it's a way to also potentially address climate change. So it's gained a lot of popularity also for that reason. And it's really viewed as a way to preserve biodiversity. So another big issue that we're dealing with in cotton production, agriculture in general, but it's also, you know, biodiversity loss is being seen as a major issue, on par, just as important as issues, you know, as climate change, actually, in terms of importance, need to address in this moment. That then brings me to our post-consumer recycled fibers. So this PCR is basically cotton that's been recycled from old jeans. This is a new project that we're really that we launched last year, and we're slowly scaling. It's basically all of the jeans that we're working with in this case are being sourced from Italy. So we have a very short supply chain, which is another benefit of this program. And so post-consumer recycled cotton is basically a way to, you know, eliminate waste at the end of life. So find a new, better use for jeans when they can no longer be used. In this case, we are blending it with our blue seed. Blue seed is a proprietary seed that can only be used by Candiani. And this basically what it does is it leads to a improved fiber, basically strength of the fabric or of the yarns themselves, because through the mechanical recycling process, the staple length of the cotton is greatly reduced. So blue seed, we saw blue seed could really be useful in compensating for those short staple lengths, and really then lead to a better quality, more resistant post-consumer recycled yarns. And then, so blue seed cotton, to just go a little bit more into detail, is a hybrid seed. So it's a non-genetically modified seed. Hybrid basically means that 2 parent plants were chosen for certain qualities, for certain characteristics, and they were cross-pollinated, like in a very intentional way. And you get, the end result is having this super plant that has all of these ideal characteristics that you're really seeking. So it's a hybrid cotton, non-GMO, and it's the best of both 2 worlds. So it's the best of extra long staple Pima cotton, so you get that nice fiber length, the silkiness of the fiber, and then it's blended with upland, which is more robust, also in the farm or in the field, so it can be grown using, you know, it's a little more resistant. And it can be grown, it generally needs less resources, so in terms of water and chemicals. So we're kind of getting the best of both worlds here. So we're moving on to more our general preferred fibers and performance yarns. So performance yarns in this case really we're talking about stretch components. So one of our most favorite preferred fibers of the moment is Tencel by Fibres. So this is a Tencel fiber that's basically a blend of or made using Tencel's tensile technology, or the lensing technology that recycles 99% of the water and the solvents and chemicals needed for the production process. So it's super efficient. And what's special about this is it's a blend of cotton waste, so cotton scraps from garment manufacturing, that's blended then with tree pulp, and you get this beautiful cellulosic fiber at the end of the day. But it's because you're using the feedstock that's coming from a waste product, it really is complementary to what we think about when we're talking about a circular economy, or finding ways to give new life, give new meaning, give new value to waste. The Roika EF is a new, or is a performance yarn that's also made from recycled elastane. It's GRS certified. This is something it's the first of its kind that comes from actually recycled materials. And then we have the Roika V550. And so this is also an elastane that is actually degradable. So it takes well, they're still kind of completing tests, but it's estimated around 5 years to degrade. But in that time, it doesn't leave behind any toxic substances in the environment. And it's also cradle to cradle gold certified. And then we have Coreva, which is our patented technology. So it's a stretch yarn that's actually made from natural rubber. And it's vulcanized rubber, but it's done in such a way that it is able to be turned or biodegrades and can be turned into compost at the end of life. So we're really focusing on finding, like I said before, in our vision is really finding alternatives to commonplace materials. And I think these are all really wonderful examples of how we can start thinking about, or how we should be thinking about, these materials that they're coming from upcycled or recycled materials. And then also at the end of life, they have a reduced impact. This brings me to, I have 3 examples of how, we've been able to create these innovations through specific collaborations. And so I'm gonna show you 3 examples, so 3 different fabrics or families of fabrics, innovations that we've been able to realize through collaborating with, whether it be brands or suppliers. So this is I'm going to go into our region fabric, which was launched in 2018. It was our 80th anniversary fabric.
Did you know the jean making process is extremely water intensive? On average, it takes almost 3,000 liters of water to make just 1 pair of jeans. Luckily, Candiani has developed a water-friendly alternative, the Regen. The Regen is Candiani's innovative 80th anniversary fabric. Its composition is 50% Tencel lyocell with Refimbra technology and 50% recycled cotton, which means no new cotton is used to make this denim. Just think of all the water we can save with this fabric. We've also made a stretch version of the Regen called Relast, made with Roika, the world's first premium recycled elastane. The Regen's ingredients aren't the only factor that make it special. We dye the indigo with our cutting-edge technology, Indigo Juice, which keeps the indigo superficial on the yarn, making it incredibly easy to wash it down in the laundry. Then we fix the dye on the yarn using Ketotex, a patented technology that uses ketazan, derived from recycled shrimp shells or elements found in nature. Thanks to the combination of these technologies, Candiani saves up to 75% of water and 65% of chemicals for each pair of jeans made with this fabric. And that's why we are the greenest mill in the blue world.
So the Regen fabric is basically our, as I said, our 80th anniversary fabric that we launched in collaboration with Lensing and their Refibra technology. It's a fabric that uses no virgin fibers. So it comes from post-industrial recycled cotton, so cotton that we collected in our production facility, and blends that with Refibra. So the Refibra, again, is made using cotton scraps from garment manufacturing. So there's no virgin fibers or virgin cotton, sorry, that's important to specify. No virgin cotton used, which has led to all of these savings, essentially, in terms of water use, chemical or water consumption, water use, or chemical use, and sorry, I can't remember what the third one was. But yeah, it was kind of one of our first fabrics that we really launched with this concept, really like thinking about this, our vision for a regenerative circular model. And so it also, we're trying to not just focus on fibers, because I think a lot of people, when we start talking about sustainability, they think organic cotton and kind of end there. This fabric, instead, we're also talking about the dye process. We use a sizing agent. So sizing is I'm just going to explain it. Sorry if you guys already know this and it's very like redundant and boring to hear, but sizing is basically a process that we apply, or it's something that happens in the dyeing department. And basically what it is a starch, that's a type of starch or some sort of chemical compound that's applied to the yarns to basically reinforce them and make them stronger for the weaving. So sizing is something that's used often in textile manufacturing, depends on, of course, the type of fiber and the type of fabric. But we instead, a common sizing agent is polyvinyl alcohol, which is a water soluble type of plastic. But even though it's water soluble, it does lead to water pollution, and is a common found plastic or microplastic in the environment. So we are eliminating the use of that and using this other biodegradable and bio-based compound called Ketotex. It is this actual video would have said that it's made from shrimp shells. We're no longer using a shrimp shell version. Instead, it's now made from mushrooms. So it's coming from a bio-based source. At the end of the dyeing process, it's basically biodegradable, and so goes away clean. It doesn't have to be treated and retreated. And so there's a lot of benefits to using Ketotex. It's something we use a lot, and we find really a valuable alternative. So I was going to talk about nettle denim. This is actually a collaboration that we did. I saw that Miguel briefly mentioned nettle, and this is a collaboration we did with Pangaea. It was something that we ideated with them for a few years, actually. They launched it last year, if I'm not mistaken. And we were just part of the realization of this fabric. So just the engineering of this fabric, working with them to kind of achieve the aesthetic they were really after. As Miguel said, nettle is a really interesting alternative. This specific nettle is a Himalayan nettle, so it's a crop that grows naturally in the Himalayas, so it's not an agricultural crop. And what they find is, first, it's able to collect a lot of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. It also helps to stabilize the mountainside, so it helps to reduce landslides and things like that. And then it's also an additional crop and source of income for subsistence farmers. So basically in their off season, when they're not I'm sorry, I don't know what crop they're normally growing, or what they're usually managing or growing. But so in their off season, when they wouldn't normally have any sort of income, they're able to harvest this nettle and have a new source of income. And there's a lot of interesting, qualities to the nettle fiber itself in terms of aesthetic. It's also, I believe, like antimicrobial. It has thermoregulating properties. So this again is another an example of an alternative, and something I didn't really mention before, but when we're looking for alternatives, we're not looking for just an alternative. We're looking for something that actually offers better qualities or characteristics, and can really like ennoble or create, even add more value to the fabrics that we're making. So this was a really cool project that we were able to develop with Pangaea. It's a selvage fabric. They made their own custom selvage. It's like a kind of purple orchid. They're calling it orchid purple color. Really pretty. And you do get to see kind of on the aesthetic of the fabric, you get this kind of a little bit more like rustic appearance. And then, so this is my final slide, and I wanted to talk to you about also another project that we launched with Lensing, and they created a limited edition tencel using hemp fibers. So unfortunately, this is not something that is probably going to be going into production anytime soon in terms of like their ability to really scale this technology, because what they discovered in doing this pilot was that there's not enough hemp. They can't find hemp to continue it. So hemp's like in very high demand now. But this was a really cool project where basically using the tencel, the lensing technology, you're really able to achieve a different quality hemp fiber. So hemp fibers tend to be a little more on kind of the rough side. This instead was able to really transform the hemp fibers into something way silkier, softer, more breathable. And so you have all of the kind of benefits of the hemp, the environmental benefits of the hemp plant, but then kind of transform into this new, really interesting fiber. And we combine this with our Coreva technology, which again is our biodegradable, bio-based and biodegradable or compostable stretch denim. And we made this shirt basically. It's still available if anyone's interested. So sorry that the videos didn't work, and sorry if I rambled on, but thank you. And I look forward to any questions.
You were great, and thank you so much. And I think it was very smart presentation. We have got some questions. So if you could unshare the screen briefly. Sure. Just a few. Just one about what kind of recycling technique do you use in PCW? Is it more about what kind of fibers work well when you're mixing with PCWs? Might be the question I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to dissect what the question is. Do you find a cell or something works well? What are you finding at Candiani with PCW?
Yeah, so I mean the technology that we're doing is like a pretty classic mechanical recycling process. So it's not chemical. So they basically how do you say, I want to say mash up, but mash up is like shred. They shred the fabrics, they reopen up the fibers basically, and that's kind of the process. And then what we saw, so we were kind of late to the party in terms of like PCR fabrics, because historically we really saw that the quality was so bad. So it was like, why are we going to present this alternative, this like sustainable fabric, but the quality is, excuse my language, but kind of shit. So there's no point to that. So finally, we really, upon discovering this blue seed and starting to work with this blue seed, we really discovered that having this extra staple length really compensated for the short mechanically recycled cotton fibers. So in doing that, we were able to achieve, a yarn and these recycled fibers, a better quality of these recycled fibers. So we're not compromising performance. We're not compromising, any of the quality of the fabric at the end.
Thank you so much. I think there are a couple more questions, but it might be easier if you jump online and you can answer them for us.
Sure.
Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for sponsoring Ravensbourne as well. You guys are awesome, and there's free fabrics that the students are going to use, and we look forward to seeing you in person in like January. So yeah, thank you again.
Looking forward to that too. Okay.
Thank you,
Thanks,
guys.
everyone.
Thank you. Bye.